Welcome back to the Unanimous Decision Podcast. I am your host, DPalm. Follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, all the socials at DPalm66. Follow the show at UDPod. Follow the entire MTR network at, you guess it, the MTR network. Subscribe so you don't miss one episode of goodness on Spotify. Subscribe on iTunes. Subscribe everywhere you get your podcast for free 99. Also subscribe on YouTube. That's right, YouTube, dragging this podcast into 2015, one episode at a time. The channel is at UDPod66. We appreciate it. Subscribe, the likes, the comments. We appreciate it all. Brought to you as always by DanielPaulMortgages.com. If you can pay your rent, you can pay a mortgage. It's my job to help you qualify. And also check out my other podcasting venture, Life, Love, and Real Estate. New episode is coming out this week. Subscribe to not miss your best way to be ready for your new home in 2026. But that's not why you're here. We're not here to talk about homes. We're here to talk about sports. And that's why I've got good friend of the podcast, Rich Fann, back on. What is going on, Rich?
Not much, Palm. I am surviving what is a very weird Pittsburgh winter where it's like 60 all the last week. And then we got about 4 or 5 inches of snow and it's 30 again. And just,
I keep thinking about all my New York and my Northeastern friends, and just it's so like here, it was cold today. It was not fun to be outside today, but at the same time, like it didn't snow. So like
yeah.
it's really not that
And it's
bad.
even levels to the snow because I got
Yeah.
3 or 4 inches. My wife and my son were at a hockey tournament in New Jersey. The
Oh
place they
no.
were at got 17 inches before they
Yeah.
left. And it's
Yeah.
at 30 as of today. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad they left when they did, but still,
Man.
I don't miss that. I don't miss
No.
that.
God, no. I did my time. Went to Columbia, did my time, lived in Philly those 2 years. The 2 years we were in Philly, the first year it was the coldest it'd been in like 98 years. And the second year it was the most snow they'd had in like 103 years. I was like, they don't want us here. The region has kicked us out. It's time to leave. It has spoken. And but yeah, before we get into anything else, man, how's the hockey dad life, bro? Like your son is like he's doing some shit, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. He did uh, like a showcase, kind of like pre-scouting thing, and then had a meeting with his coach. Where I appreciate his head coach. His head coach is very
Yeah.
blunt. He's very much like a football coach that all happens to coach hockey. Where he's like, "Look, y'all can spend this money if you want on these camps and all this other stuff. The only thing that's going to get you is film. And if you don't have film, you better figure out how to get film, which means you need ice time. And if you don't have ice time, you got to earn it on this team. You can't just say, Coach, I want to go to college or I want to go semi pro. Give me all these minutes on the first or second line. You got to earn that." And so I liked him hearing that. And I like the fact that the coach doesn't make it seem like it's this you hit these 3 buttons and magically you're a candidate. But yeah, it's awesome. I think I talked with him and I talked with my wife with him going into freshman year. Next year, I'm going to take a step back and most likely not coach at all.
Okay.
And if I do coach, it might just be full-time like JV guy that also does advanced scouting for my head coach.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen 20 years of kids go from freshman to senior and have guided them, and I feel I am owed to my son to do the same thing, but not in the
very unique perspective.
Yeah. And I want to be in a not in the Joe Jackson way of like, I want to guide it, because here's the other thing about like black dadding. My wife is really the one that drives it. Like she'll tell you every kid on the roster. She'll tell you the kids on the other team. She's got videos that like the mothers are sharing amongst themselves of like the best kids and what you got to look out for. I'm just going to be the assistant to the general manager.
That's what
and I am happy with that.
That's what's up, man. I'm really excited for you. That's really cool. Like before, man, every comic is someone's first comic. You and me both know that. Rich, tell everyone who's listening for the first time ever who you are, where they can find you, and how we became friends. This has been a decade now.
Decade. Okay, so wow, this is okay. So do I actually have it? I do.
Man, we never didn't even his gimmick.
Well, I gotta pull out the. I want to make sure I have them. Oh, I might have moved them downstairs. For those of you watching visually, I was gonna pull out the our first comic book club series.
Oh wow!
Because I had Fables, but I moved them down to my basement because I got yelled at because I was taking up too much space in the office. Ironically, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the one who like this used to be just for. Giggles. This used to just be my wife's storage facility where it would be boxes and an inflatable bed for when guests came over. And one day I just got sick of it, took everything out, built this journey, got all the awesome stuff like Predator versus Ali up there,
Of course.
the Olympic poster from I want to say it's the 68 games, just fun stuff. But you didn't ask that question. The question you asked was, we started with the comic book club.
Yes, sir.
And it was something where you and Chris had just put a call out to the folks that were subscribers, which again, idea I stole for later. And I happened to raise my hand. And so we kept going, and then just kept talking and figure out, oh, we both play football. Oh, we both know football. Let's talk about that stuff too. Oh, we both love wrestling. Boom. Connection made. Like seminal moment reached.
Man.
And so that happened. And then as that was going on, my wife was just starting and then finishing law school. And as she was doing that, I decided, because I had a family member pass away, 37 years old of lung cancer, never smoked a day in her life, that I was in full yes man mode. And I was going to try to challenge myself and do things that typically I wouldn't have done. And started with the comic book club. And then it led to me checking in and calling into the Pro Wrestling Torch, which Wade Keller's the editor publisher of. And Cam Hawkins, mutual friend of ours, and Travis Bryant had a show there. They needed someone to step in for the VIP side of things where they would answer emails and stuff like that. And then Travis, because that's just how things work, you went from like no black folks I knew covering wrestling to 3 of us doing it. And then he had to take time off because he worked. And so at that point, the number 2 guy in the company, Bruce Mitchell, needed a co-host. And so I go from guy who was calling in to co-hosting with one of the most venerated wrestling guys in the business. And that's led to me now being at the Torch for over 10 years. And so I do articles there. Most part, I do podcasts. Started with the East Coast cast, and now I do everything with myself and Wade Keller, everything with Rich and Wade, which is wild, because I now get emails from folks asking me like, hey, how did you get here? I was like, I'm not anywhere, man. I'm just here. And so, like you said, 10 years, it went by, because I remember you and Ro and Chris, and we were arguing about like how bad it was for the Wolf and the things going on and Fables. And then you fast forward and you guys have the MTR network. You have like so many things. Like I'll see folks on my timeline, on my skyline now, I guess. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I met them through these guys. I met them through these guys. And it's wild.
It's been here the whole time. It's very crazy. But I want to go back to one thing you mentioned. You had the Olympic poster on your wall. So the Olympics. Obviously you're a hockey family now. You guys have become a hockey family. What was that gold medal game like? That was amazing, right?
Which one? And that's the thing.
Let's go with the men.
Okay, because I was going to say.
Great point. Excellent point. We will come back to that point. Let's start with the men's, because this is kind of the one that's been, it had a very Paul White-ish type heel turn occur soon thereafter. Let's talk about those moments of face life. Jack Hughes, gold medal, amazing overtime win.
Teeth missing.
Can you just kind of, for people who don't know anything about hockey, which is, I mean, largely me too. Yeah. Can you kind of expound on like what, because I want people to know, like, the Canadians are the U.S. in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
When Connor McDavid's just one of the guys on one of their lines, that's a thing and a problem. And so when this thing goes to overtime, and it's 3-on-3, which I don't know how I feel about it with the Olympics with the smaller rink and anything. That's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. The smaller rink definitely benefited the Americans because the speed on the Canadians was kind of nerfed by the fact that you didn't have anywhere to go. And you have like Jack Hughes, like I said, coming up so big at the end. What was that like watching as a dad whose son is involved in this like apparatus of U.S. hockey?
Well, it's interesting because when we were talking about before we started, like the weather in the last couple of days, my son had a tournament this weekend and they got everything done so that everyone could leave Saturday if they needed to for safety from New Jersey, because it was almost 17 inches at that point. It's going to be up to 30 inches by the time they got out. And so I was, first thing, just as a hockey dad, any weekend where I don't have to get up and watch a game at 8 a.m., I'm like, thank you, dear Lord. only to hear, oh, the Trey is rushing back with his mom, and he's going to want to watch the gold medal game.
Of course.
And it's at 8 a.m. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
Run
even when I
from it,
don't
dread
have to
it.
get up.
It still arrives, my friend.
Yep. And it was, watching that. First, I want to take a step back before we even get to overtime. That game was significantly impacted by the semifinal when one of the Czechia defenders knocks Sidney Crosby out of the game, because I think he would have changed that, especially if they made it to overtime. That's where that man lives.
Okay, so oddly enough, I had this conversation with a hockey friend this week. Do you think the 5th best player for Canada makes that much of a difference? Like at current, I know what we're saying, like the mystique of, I get it. I'm just saying in 2025, good Lord, time. Is that the transformative factor that we kind of want it to be, because it makes the story better? But if Connor McDavid, who if he comes up short one more time, man, we're gonna have a lot of different conversations to have about that young man. No points. Did he have no points this Olympics?
Yeah, I think so.
That's wild. It's just wild. It's just wild to me. I want to say it out loud. It's wild. But yeah, man, do you really think that makes that big of a difference? And I get it. You got your local. It's Pittsburgh. I'm not trying to get your house burned down or nothing.
No.
Say what you gotta say. But
no,
I live, brother.
The reason I do is because I look at it the same way I look at a good basketball team. If you have that old vet like him, if LeBron on Team USA, he was able to defer to Steph in a way that he wouldn't defer to anybody else on any other team, because he knew that guy's going to make a shot. I can trust him. When you have a guy forget about McDavid, McKinnon, there was a wide open net. The goalie was facing the wrong way and he missed it. And then they played the game when they had power play, and that's where I think they had the biggest. 5-3? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just passing it. Who wants to try to take the shot to take these guys out? No one did. Whereas when a power play situation like that, in any situation, courtesy of his gold medals up until this point, Crosby would take those shots.
You're right.
Or he would say, give me the freaking puck. So I'm not saying it's him the entire game. If anything, because of the way, and for those of you unaware, this is one of the coolest things. It is really the closest I can think of is American basketball, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
When you have so many, and the announcer kept mentioning it, and I don't think people appreciate it. When you play on a hockey rink, I can't skate. I have no balance. I tore my Achilles last year. Now it's over. Now it's never.
You couldn't.
Nope. Could not. I came out there with a walker once just to say I did a lap because he was trying to show me up. And then he started skating backwards. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to, CPS is going to have to find me now, because this kid is he's testing me in a way that now the manhood is tested. And I got to learn how to skate just to fight him.
Exactly.
And so when you look at a lot of the hockey teams you play, and if you're on a line, you're out there for 90 seconds.
Yeah. Quick shifts.
Yep. But that 90 seconds is exhausting.
Yeah.
If you're doing it the right way. If you're just a dude hanging there and you're trying to hang with your boy, if it's a beer league, that 90 seconds is you barely getting across the blue line. But with these guys, they knew there's so many of us that are so good that I might not get any minutes. I might get 2 shifts. I've come to the entire Olympics and I had 2 shifts. But if I do my best in those 2 shifts, we'll get a gold medal.
Shout out Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep. I was carried. He was fine with it. It's fine. And it's the same thing here. I think if you had that 5-on-3, and you had Sidney Crosby there, that I
raises the confidence level ever lost in the ice.
Yeah. Whereas when you saw the stormtroopers they put out there, it was just
it panic?
Lemon booty, as Bomani call it. It was full on lemon booty, or limon bouté, if you want to just bring it and make it French Canadian, so that way everyone in Canada.
This is an international game.
Macklin Celebrini had 6 shots on goal. He's 19 years old. That's not his job. Again, if I wish Tiny Lister was around, it's take it away. Tell him I took it. This is I don't. You don't need this.
So this was and again, Jack Hughes. For those who don't know about Jack Hughes is one of the good ones, like one of the best
Yeah.
ones. Like he organized the literacy program, the reading group in the New Jersey Devils locker room. He has been a big proponent of Pride Night. He and his brother been one of the louder voices when they finally shuttered it against that. It's been refreshing to kind of see him and his family and all this thing be highlighted. And for like 45 minutes, this was like one of the more uplifting, uniting American stories I've heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Where for those 45 minutes, where did it rank for you? Because I've got, and maybe it's recency bias, but I think I've got my favorite American team moment. Do you have one?
I
In
would
any
say,
sport, any sport.
any sport.
Yeah.
I would have put it up there, especially with the fact that you have the legacy of a kid whose father was on the miracle team, whose
Yep.
grandfather was on the only other gold medal team.
68.
Yeah. So you had like, no, 80, and then the dad was like 1932 or something
Oh my
like
God,
that.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
I think that's what people don't really grasp is that the Americans winning gold is not a thing that happens. And it is like this is legitimately like upsetting the team, the drink, like the team, like they're going to come back with such a renewed fervor. Like I am a little afraid of what Canada puts out next time.
Yeah.
Like,
I stand
we actually
corrected.
cloned
60.
Gretzky. We actually cloned
60,
Gretzky.
60, 80, and 26.
68. Thank you.
Like,
Yeah. This don't
that's
happen, y'all. Like we don't win gold in hockey. It just doesn't happen,
no.
especially men's hockey. And so I think this is a very cool moment. So what's your, do you have one that's like an American, like full on USA moment that's kind of captured you?
Oh, it was the U.S. men's basketball team versus France.
That's
When the Avengers, like when LeBron, I told you the LeBron moment, the on your left and step up, and it was like, hey,
you know what it was for me?
mm,
It was the moment when the French announcers called him the devil.
yes,
And I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to cheer for Steph Curry. Okay, I get Warriors fans because this is intoxicating. This is truly, I feel mad with power and
that light skinned devil, like they called him everything but a child. Like it was
and they were right.
amazing.
Like, oh, what if Satan came to burn down your team in their home stadium during the Olympics? Like they did it in France, in Paris, against the French.
This was the ultimate road game. That's like Rocky 4 was fiction. This was real.
This is so real. And all you've done is create a problem because Vic and the French are coming to LA.
Right.
And Vic may not let you guys score.
No.
But
Like that's the thing. That's the if you remember, and you might not because I'm a psychopath and these little things become like seminal moments in my life. There was a Sunday night football game 25 years ago.
God, okay. Let's
And
play
this is
game.
like back on ESPN.
Okay.
So this isn't like
yeah, I'm seeing the round score bubble in the bottom right. Yeah, okay.
So they talked about like the history of the Bengals franchise and how things are going wrong.
Okay.
Coupled with Carson Palmer at the 8, like Carson Palmer learns to walk.
Okay, so this is like not 25 because you said 25.
That's 35, isn't it?
No, I went to Achilles Smith. 25 years ago was Achilles Smith.
Okay,
so we're talking
20?
like 20 years ago. Yeah. So
okay, so 20.
Let me do this. Okay. All right, I'm there.
Yeah.
Who are they
so
playing?
I cannot find it on YouTube. I can't find it anywhere because they played it to Teenage Wasteland and like that timeline is like building and it's like finally Carson Palmer drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Same thing with Victor Wembanyama. Victor, like the U.S. men's national team embarrasses France on their home turf. Victor Wembanyama stops watching Teletubbies. Like he is like their vengeance shall be mine. Like this guy, if we have the Slim Reaper, who was also the greatest in just DM destruction known to man. Allegedly. I don't know what to do with Victor. Allegedly. I don't know what to do with Victor because he's going to come at us at our weakest, and so we're going to need Ant-Man.
We beat him. We beat him on his own. Like he is going to do everything in his power. But I love Kevin Durant being like, Bron said he wouldn't play next time. I never said that shit. I love that. He's like, fuck. I
love it.
He says, "Oh, you said the French are coming? They tried that shit. We already beat him on their court. Let's see what they do." Like
KD
he's
is
already talking shit. I'm so here for it.
He's the Nick Fury of.
But I would be remiss if I did not take us back to the world of ice hockey.
Okay.
And talk about the heel turn. Because soon after we as a nation celebrated the vanquishing of those maple frauds, them saying like, you saw who the better team was, bro. You got a silver medal. Like, chill with the shits.
Yeah.
And
they have no leg to stand on.
Which if you give me a stuffed animal and a silver medal, I am within my rights to beat the shit out of you.
Paul, I already knew what time it was.
Canadian men in that moment so much. I was like, nah, beat the shit out of them. Beat the shit out of this man.
They had the biggest issue going into that Olympics was you got caught with your other home soil game, which is curling. You cheated your way to a gold medal there. So everything was already wild. And then you let the Americans. And then the heel, like you said, go ahead. The heel. The freaking heel.
Close a 5-2. Anyway, 5-3. So heel turn, Americans, they're partying with America's least favorite. The fact that this man is the head of the FBI. Like the fact they have to refer to him as FBI Director Kash Patel.
Yeah.
And not internet meme Kash Patel or former podcaster Kash Patel. I have to say FBI Director Kash Patel. This is the worst timeline. I want that on record too. FBI Director Kash Patel was seen doing the important work of drinking beer with the guys after the game. And what's funny is that a reporter had said, I heard Kash Patel has taken a trip to Italy to watch the gold medal game. And someone said, how dare you report something that's so unfounded? And then Kash Patel tweets out the goddamn picture of himself in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And then we get that guy, the president. I can't believe I have to say the president of the United goddamn States. The worst timeline.
Yep.
He gets on a call that is recorded because why not? And says, I'm going to invite you guys to the White House. I got to invite the girls too or they'll impeach me. And now I want to go backwards to go forwards, as our friend Felder likes to say. The women. Much like in another sport that probably shouldn't be ours, but it's become ours. They hold it down in hockey.
Yeah.
They ain't little brother to the Canadians.
Mm-mm.
It's a nip tuck type shit.
They are in their face.
Always and forever. So like them winning the gold didn't get the press because guess what? It wasn't as big a fucking surprise.
Right.
When it comes to a gold standard in national hockey in this country, the women are first, just like in soccer. Good on them for turning down the invitation. Did they invite him to the White? Where did they invite him to?
I think officially it would be the White House, but I think it's like the Gardens. Essentially, like
he invited him to something that felt lesser.
Oh, State of the Union. State of the Union.
Piece of shit. Invited him to State of the Union. They said no. In a heartwarming ending to the story, Flava Flav has offered to fly the team out to Las Vegas because Flava Flav is a goddamn gem of a human.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, this is like, I'll be the first to admit that there are a litany of reasons I don't want my son playing football. Well, chief among them is the predominant culture behind it. How has it been navigating that with Trey?
Well, that's where I'm glad you, as always, did you go backwards to go forward. I'm happy to talk about the women because one of the key women has been one of the key mentors to my son and kids his age, Layla Edwards.
That's awesome.
Here in the United States and in Canada, though really it's in the United States situation that I want to focus on right now. Willie O'Ree, the first black hockey player in NHL history. This dude, when he played, he's in his almost 90s, I think now, was blinded in one eye and could not tell the team doctor in Boston because they would have declared him ineligible to play. So when you look up Willie, if you get a chance while you're listening to this, look at all his stats and imagine what he could do if he could see. That's what we got to deal with. So Willie decides he's done his work. He's done his journey. He's fought for what he's had to do. And he decides, hey, let me offer to the NHL a youth development program. And I will be able to see the kids. I'll give them an opportunity to
Yeah.
develop, and then find kids their own age, from age 10 to 18. You will find someone, and you can hear firsthand the stories of what happens when you hit certain ages on the road and certain towns you go to, and what they're going to say. Trey was 9. The Penguins were the only team in the NHL in the United States to take him up on it, and they let him go in a year early. And so he's been in there for 5 years now. And so he's had the support of folks like Layla. He's had supports of so many kids that have been, and now he's a mentor to some of the 9 and 10-year-olds that are coming in after him. And so I have been thoroughly impressed with him. I think in the time he's played, we've had like 2 or 3 incidences where folks do what, I don't know if you saw with soccer, they had that happen in the Champions League with Vinicius Jr. Same thing. Kid, says is a coward. He gets called on it, caught in 4K. His parents are crying. He's crying. He's saying he didn't mean what he said, or he didn't say what he said. And it's like, well, what about this?
Yeah.
And so those sorts of situations have come up, and he's had, I don't want to say he doesn't have a callus to it, but we have an understanding that I told him, like, you're going to see this and you're going to have folks do this. And I think in hockey, more than even football, the opportunities will pop up when you're in tournaments or you're in showcases, and these folks are going to try you. And for me, I'm like, hey, if you got to fight. Yeah. But the one thing I don't want you to do is not play your game. Like, if you got to get a penalty, we don't care.
Take the minutes.
Sitting there and smile.
Yeah.
And like, especially now that he's on his team and he's a captain, if anything, you already know now, like when it happened, the kid, that's the other part of the story. Just like in the case with Vinicius Jr., the kid is like, I felt intimidated because after I did what I did, or allegedly did what I did, because I don't want to admit it, he spent the next 40 minutes in hell because every other kid on his team's like, I'll take minutes. I'll keep him on the ice. But you, sir, you are going to meet the boards every time we're out here.
Every time.
And it was like, smallest kid in the team to the biggest kid. It's like, we'll play with 4, but you will not get a chance to see the ice because you will be face down on it. And it was glorious to see. It was like glory clap, single tear down the cheek, because he's the only black kid on the team. And these little white dudes, big white dudes, were like, this is our guy. This is our captain. You don't touch our captain. And that's what I wanted him to see. And I think when he said he wasn't going to do football, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the machinations behind it, I've loved coaching. I will coach it again at some point. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten tired of arguing with coaches about baseline things. Like, I'll talk to you about a trap versus a counter, or if you want to pull, if you want to do a Y insert because you don't trust our tackle to get across. But if I got to argue with you about whether or not Mike Tomlin deserves his job, we're talking 2 different languages.
It's a whole other. It's that layer and that level and that coverage that's there, that you don't have to even speak to it. It's just there. And like, we could tell stories about that kind of thing all day. We're gonna move it forward for right now, but I do want to just say, I think it's very cool that Trey is evolving into the leader, because, like you said, I've known you for most of his life.
Yeah, that's crazy. He was like I got these Girl Scout cookies from the terrorists that like invaded my office. Like, he was this size when I met Palm, and now this dude is bowing up on me.
My son's 2.5, man.
Yeah, like that's the thing. That's where you get, and you, obviously you're at that stage. You and your wife are at that stage. But when he gets old enough that you could say, like, look, bro, I got shirts older than you, and it's already it's there. It's like all of the shirts you own at this point are older than him. But he's old enough to like talk crap, and you can say that, and he's like, well, okay, I don't care. You don't scare me.
He is. I could talk about him all day too. I will say this: hockey had a big moment in January with heated rivalry. I finally watched it all. I finally finished it. We're going to be doing something on the feed for that. I'm going to get Shanna on. She's in Australia, being free. Wow. But we're going to talk about it because and maybe my wife, I don't know, they both like bullied me into watching it. And so I loved it. That's fantastic. I could talk about it for days. But from heated rivalry to this, to like misogynistic jokes that like, I don't even know it's all bad, man. This could have been like Pantheon unifying national moment. They could have been on the par of beating France in Paris.
Nope. Difference. You know why? Because we should have. And if folks didn't pay attention to it, because again, the Olympics are a little different than the others. The Four Nations face-off gave us the preamble to this last year because they leaned
Okay,
into
they
that
deeper
51st
got into
state
that
crap.
shit. Yeah.
They got deep into it. And that's where it's like, just like with the Vinicius Jr. stuff in soccer, anytime you talk about someone's statehood, personhood, the establishment of them as a human being, as a
Yeah.
joke, just to get under, you can't say, oh, we're just joshing you. No, you're not. And they leaned into that. They got the call before that game when they played Canada. They opened up. For those of you who want to see it, if you Google it, the or search it however you want. I hate brands.
Ask
Hate them.
Jeeves.
Yeah, Jeeves. Oh,
Jeeves will
Magellan
hook
it.
you up, baby.
Get on Magellan. Oh, I missed that. Alta Vista. Ooh, that's the good stuff.
This is not turned into an Archer type
Yeah.
rant of just Alta Vista and Magellan. My goodness.
Yeah, that's what we're at. But if you watch the first like 3 to 7 minutes of the Four Nations face off between the US and Canada in the finals, it was just a fist fight. They agreed collectively, like as soon as the thing, and then the same thing happened here in the gold medal game. They said, we're not going to let this happen at the Olympics. We're going to keep it. And they're like, okay, bet.
It's a great thing. That's a great thing to say to people. That's a fantastic thing to say.
We're going to keep this light. And then they turned it into Mutant League. And I was like, that's what you got to do. And so, like you said, the heel turn happens. The ladies hopefully will be with Flava Flav and enjoying it.
Chilling.
And I didn't think, especially with Layla on the team, they would have gone to begin with, even if he had done it the cordial way, like most normal people would do it. He just
hadn't been an asshole on that.
Yeah.
Like, we know who you are. We know what you stand for. Could you pretended to give a shit about, like,
nope.
Just it, fucking the worst. Like, and that's the thing. Like, whatever. I read comics. You read comics. We've read like the weird, twisted things that these writers come up with, and you realize that it's based on things that either have happened or very, very likely can happen. And then you're like, oh wait, nothing can surprise me. And then you're like, well, maybe it can, because I read Devil Train, and like I'm like, well, I mean, okay. So did they. They read it too, and they got the wrong messages.
Nope. One world under doom. Instead, we got one world under doof. Like, just absolute dullard.
That
like,
no prepared material, my friend.
It is. I just bought the trade paperback. I needed something to fit it in.
Good. It's so good.
It's
let's talk about hockey. Our Olympics are over. All-Star Game's over. We got the sprint to the end of the NBA season. Did you know, Rich, the NBA is fun and good?
Yeah.
It's so weird because the way that I think it's really cool with Amazon and Peacock getting their piece of the broadcasting pie has been it shows in what stark relief what ESPN and TNT had done for years. And ESPN's kind of adjusted because, like, so at the All-Star break, what was a preeminent story about NBA basketball? The tanking. And my thing is, mathematically, why focus on the 4 teams that might be tanking when there's so many teams playing such good fucking basketball? Like, I'm sorry, you can't watch Utah and Sacramento and be entertained? Me neither, bro. I don't care if they're tanking or not. Those teams stink. However, like the Boston LA game the other night,
that was awesome.
Wemby doing the shit that he's doing to people. Like, you're telling me you're not entertained by this? You must hate sports, because this is the most fun. Like, they don't care, which is always just, again, the code. But like, you can't. James Harden didn't care about basketball. That is an MVP, you assholes. If you're telling me he can win an MVP without caring, what do you really think of his powers?
Right. Like, while we talk right now, the Spurs and the Pistons are playing, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I missed a freaking slugfest.
You mean Cade Cunningham, your future MVP?
Yeah.
There's so much talent, young talent in this league. It's never been a more talent-rich league. And the reason that people don't know that is because for so long, it was covered in a way that this league is dying. And it's never been encapsulated better. I don't know if you saw this. Charles Barkley, post-game, was talking, and they've got the inside the NBA guys on like a bubble where they're on ESPN every once in a while. It's pretty funny, but I think it's also market research that their brand of talking about the league is having less resonance. So, for example, Charles Barkley goes on like a 5-minute tirade about how the Lakers are an unserious organization, how they're not built for the playoffs, and how they will flame out in the first round. Mind you, this is a 4th seed in the West right now, who's playing very good basketball and whose leader is leading the NBA in scoring.
Yeah.
They then throw to an interview with Austin Reeves in post-game. But Charles didn't realize that he'd been listening the entire fucking time.
That was beautiful.
And it's like, hey man, you can't keep talking shit about me and imagine me to keep taking it. Kevin Durant in the All-Star break. Hey man, why do y'all keep saying that we are lazy? This is a lazy league, bro. Like, why do you keep framing it that way? Because it feels like you're framing it, you're talking bad about Black American players. And I think it's been very interesting. And this is something I've talked about before because when you and I grew up, who were the heroes for the kids? The players.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be like Mike. Now, I want to talk about the dudes in the suits. Who's the GM of the year? Who can bottom out the fastest? Hey man, this used to be fun. Remember like having just fun basketball teams? I loved the Steve Smith Hawks. Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, Dikembe Mutombo. Let's run and gun. It was fun. They were never going to win a goddamn thing. But you know what they were? They were fun. And they had an identity. And somewhere along the way, these idiots in suits decided, hey man, it's better. It's more profitable to sell hope than to sell fun.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about like what this means for the franchise. And I lived through the Knicks for 20 years, just being absolute hot dog water.
I was leaving your team alone, man.
I had a student talk to me today at work, and he was like, "What teams do you like?" He was just doing like a basic, like he wanted to get to know me. And I mentioned, I was like, I grew up in New York, so most of my teams are New York based. So Knicks, Yankees. Like he's like, well, you can't get Knicks. I'm so sorry. I was like, not now. If you had met me like 15 years ago, yes, apologize.
Or 3 years ago.
Yeah, we're 3. Yeah, you're not wrong. But it's fun. And I have no like crazy, I'm not that Knicks fan that's going to have crazy expectations. I just want them to be competent. And that's what you get now. And so many teams are competent. Like you said, you don't need to focus on the incompetence.
No.
But they want the draft because they've sold the draft in all of these sports are if you take this person, everything changes.
It's instead hope, man. Hope's a hell of a drug.
It is.
It's a hell of a drug. It's why gambling's so poisonous. This is still not sponsored by gambling. I shouldn't have any gambling rants in me right now. I'm very tired. It's been a long couple of weeks. Yeah, man, entertaining in the way you talk about the sport, like Charles Barkley didn't talk about, you shouldn't, this is how you can't win. It may be entertaining, but it's not good for the game. And I've always thought it was weird that like media partners were allowed to rag on their media. Like, hey, Turner, we're gonna trust you with the fate of the league. If you treat us well, it grows everyone's money. And Turner, here's 45 minutes of Charles Barkley shitting on every player you just saw. Like, it's like, wait, what? This feels, and so the refreshing thing of having Peacock and Amazon has been like, oh, we can love this game. We can love these players. We can love this sport. And I want to talk about this right now before I'm going to wrap with wrestling because I don't get to talk to you that often. And by God, it is Wrestlemania season. The way we talk about these players, the way we talk about these sports. Rondale Moore.
Man.
Was lost to mental illness this past weekend. And I could tell you all about watching him tear apart Ohio State as Purdue. I could tell you all about his exploits on the field. I could tell you about that fantastic, heartwarming clip about TJ Watt or JJ Watt or one of them Watt boys putting his arm around the kid at camp when he was at the Cardinals. What I will say is this, and I've seen more players speaking up about this too, about how it's the ultimate team game until you're injured and then you realize how disposable you can feel. And it is important that those voices get heard right now because we don't know how we got to this point with Rondale Moore. We don't know. But what we do know is that we don't have to pretend it didn't happen. And we don't have to pretend like it's a freak occurrence. Have I told you about what my senior year? We're playing Penn. And they just played Princeton. They beaten Princeton. And their star running back was like a senior. He had a good finance job lined up. And on Tuesday before the game, he took his own life. And it's so not easy. It is so seductive to want to say, oh man, that's a one-time thing. That's something that happened to one guy one time and it could never happen to me. And what's become more and more apparent with these, particularly these young men and women who are competing today, is that this is a more real aspect of their lives than it ever was before. Sure, you drop a ball, you might beat yourself up. A couple years ago, somebody find your cell phone number and leak it on a message board. Now it lives in your pocket. And now it doesn't live in your pocket, but the guys who are upset that you dropped the ball, you cost them money.
Mm-hmm.
You cost them money that they can talk about in public. Not money like to their friends, and money that happened because they got on their phone and decided to gamble because we put the casino in your wallet, in your pocket, excuse me. And so I don't even know where I want to go with this, Rich, because for me, it's just like an epidemic. It is a global problem that unless we address, it's only going to get worse because the weight and the expectations and the access to these players at younger and younger ages is only going to continue to be poisonous. Like, am I doom casting? Am I wrong? Tell me, push back on me somewhere here because I don't want to be right about this.
Well, one of the things I think there's two separate parts, and I think whether it's listening to Felder and you or the awesome three-man band you had last week, I think, or the week before, we're all of a certain age, and because of that, we grew up analog and got guided into digital when we were a little older. Whereas a lot of these folks like Rondale and his contemporaries below that have grown up in their brains are totally different than ours. If you look at the studies and the way it works, and in terms of how they seek validation, like to me, I mentioned this with wrestling. I never search my name on like Squared Circle or any. I don't have a desire. Like, why would I want people whose opinions don't matter to give something to me that I will never accept? Like, I'm not there for your approval. Like, at the end of the day, that's not for me. But that's what they seek out. It's never the praise. It's always the vitriol. And AJ Brown had a really good video about that too. Go ahead.
But to be fair, like that's just a larger exploitation of human nature. My senior year of high school, I went 47-3 wrestling. You know, I can't tell you about any of those wins. I can walk you through every loss right now today.
But you didn't have somebody on a message board making memes out of it. You didn't have somebody like, okay, here's a good one for me. One of my former players, I will not say his name because I don't know if it ain't fair to him, but he was a Chinese exchange student, played on the offensive line, tried hard, did really well, quit football just because he had some issues with one of the other kids on the team and just it wasn't getting better. Because they were both on the same position group. He goes to wrestling. I haven't seen him in years. I run up to him. He's like, "Hey, Coach Fann, I got something to tell you, man." And I was like, What? He's like, "Come here." And he's like, "I was wrestling heavyweight this year, Coach. I go to state finals. This dude, he throws me around." I was like, "All right, dude." Like, I don't want to throw his name out because I don't want to mess my man up. Yeah, but and he was like, "Coach Fann, look, he made him slamming me his profile pic." And I had to DM him, and I was like, "You have to do me like that, man. Like, you won. Like, you didn't have." I was like, "Oh, you don't have that. Like, you didn't have that. Like, every time you see that dude now, it's not even the slam. It's like in midair. So he's just legs dangling, like completely vulnerable. Like, just absolutely. The point is about to be given, and he is just." And the dude, he's like, "He looks like Brock Lesnar. He was so big, Coach. He was so big."
And the thing is, I was definitely a dickhead in high school.
I appreciate the self-reflection.
I was the kid who would win a tournament, and then everyone's sitting on the podium or whatever, the risers, and they'd give the kid the silver medal, and then I would run and jump and turn and bend my head down for my gold medal all in one motion. Because I was a dickhead. I'll be the front.
You admit it. That's growth.
I know who I was. I've grown. I was 18. Eat shit. You weren't cool at 18 either.
So you were George McFly waiting to jump in on Marty.
No. See. No. For years, you know my first year wrestling? You know what my record was my first year wrestling?
What was that?
I lost every match. I got pinned in
so you came out the mud.
Look, for me, it was like, I was inspired by getting my head kicked in by people better than me to get better. Who am I to coddle someone else? to prevent them from deciding to get good.
That is getting good. But see, that's the thing. You didn't do that and have a video. It's like live streaming. Say,
That's
let
the
me go
thing.
beat this dude real quick.
I had the video playing in my head, but like I
Right.
didn't have someone tagging me. No, I wasn't someone's profile picture. That made me sick that you just said that. Like when you said that out loud,
Yeah.
that made me feel absolutely sick. But it's true because like, and there was that study a couple years ago where NBA players on the whole were talking about how unhappy they were. Like, how are you so unhappy? You're a millionaire. Hey man, there are levels to this shit. There's levels to the access that we have to these athletes that's never existed before. The stakes have never been higher because they've never been paid more. But at the same time, we've never legalized sports gambling in this country and ushered in an unforeseeable or completely foreseeable, untreatable mental illness that's going to infect us for generations. Like, Rich, when my son comes of age and gets into the places that you and Trey are, whether it's sports or anything else, if it's sports, it'd be easier for me, but because that's just who I grew up being. But his interaction with sports will be watching a preview on the NBA NFL Live and then seeing the line beneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even that is so goddamn. You and I talked about this with what's his face, Joel and Felder. None of us got into this shit because like you might be a racket in it, or I could run some spreadsheets to make it more efficient. No, man, that's not why we like sports. That's why we like math. And you don't like math. I've gone to school with y'all. I know you don't like math.
It's it's like our biggest argument, and to this day, it's the one that like makes my blood. And I want to get back to Mr. Moore because I want to respect because I think there's another side of this that's insidious that I've seen in addition to this. Our biggest issue was running backs don't matter. The first person that pulled out a spreadsheet that said, and then we finally, years later, like almost 20 years later, we had a player sit someone down and gently, and even Felder's talked about it a little bit. And I know you have, like we've talked about it, but like on a national stage, there is something, obviously Marshawn, there is something essential about physically dominating your opponent with your line leaning on them and a running back.
You know when Sean McVay was at his smartest? When he had Todd Gurley.
And he was healthy.
Yeah, when he had healthy Todd Gurley. That's when Sean McVay was at his most genius.
Yeah. You had Juggernaut running through, and any quarterback could be back there. Like, okay, cool. It's like Steven Jackson on the Rams. Oh, hey, same team. Funny how that works. Like every couple of years, they find a giant black dude, people run him into the ground.
Kenneth Walker Jr. is good at football, and that helps this team. That helped elevate Sam Darnold. You idiots! And it's so weird. And yeah, let's talk more about Mr. Moore because this is, like you said, it's generational. It's something that you and I can't really understand because we didn't grow up in it. I've said this before. The technocrats want you and me dead more than anyone else because we're the last ones who remember world before they ran it.
Yep.
And I think that this is a side effect that they're okay with. That the mental illness crisis that they've ushered in, that they designed, has had the results they wanted. And it's so funny that, like, Daniel, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, and you're like, no, it's all those emails that they keep dumping on the internet. They actually, you can see the strings that were pulled in on purpose. Hi, Gamergate. But look, like,
what is the AI conversation we just saw with some of the key technocrats, where they're okay with the fact that writ large our reading comprehension is down, our critical thinking is down. It's the ability for folks to reason. Like one of the things that I try to do, and that's why, like, my son just doesn't like reading, and a lot of folks in his age group don't. But what he will read is a trade paperback.
Give him a comic book.
And that's one of those things, like my late uncle, I am always grateful that the first thing he did was give me the Christmas issue of the X-Men, where it wasn't the Brood, it was the other alien race came in.
Ngari.
Thank you. The Ngari came in. And I always forget. And at this point, as I get older, I realize some of those concussions took some things.
Hey, man.
And I got
a problem.
You do
I
have
didn't
a
prep for
process.
that.
Nope, it didn't. Full disclosure. The thing I love about doing a podcast with D-Palm or my buddy WH over at Post is I can just throw things out and they'll give me like 3 levels of data on it.
Oh my god!
Like,
That
I
was
think I know
embarrassing a little
stuff, but
bit.
then both of them start talking, and
Oh.
it's like, okay. But yeah, that's the thing. He gave me that, and that gave me the ability to have just creativity.
Yeah.
Or when my dad showed me Deep Space Nine the first time, and I got a chance to see Cisco and see myself and see him and talk about reasons why he never got on certain ships or why he never got on the holodeck past a certain year, and it wasn't sanitized.
It's the ability to hide the criticism of society through science fiction.
Right. And when you have Rondale Moore and you have like a Hollywood Brown was one of his best friends, played with the Chiefs the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The thing that broke me was he talked to him an hour before he died, and he thought it was all good. He's like, you didn't say, like, you knew you could have talked, but that's the thing. When you're in that digital world, like you mentioned the players, you mentioned the bettors, it's also worse for the fans. You know, they got studies out there that show based on fandom right now, folks are more miserable than they've ever been. And it's because they're not worried about their team losing. They're worried about their team losing and hearing it from their friends that support other teams. That is not a world I live in, man.
Y'all need better friends, dog. What?
Like that.
Also,
like,
how is this big part of your life? And I guess like there were times in my life when I was like a teenager when like my fandom was at its highest, but like as you grow older and discover other things like drinking and girls, like it becomes much less important.
No, but that's the thing. Like I love when Bomani talks about getting off the narcotic. The narcotic right now is social media, gambling, and using sports as a parasocial means to like give yourself value. Like I don't get it. And so when poor Rondale, there's like when I worked at Pitt, and I'm glad I can talk about this stuff because now I don't work there. Like one of my favorite people, his name was Penny Samaya. He was a lineman, Samoan gentleman. He now is like an assistant vice president with the Bills, does like their community relations. He helped create life skills at Pitt. And so for folks like Greg Lee, also former Cardinal, he didn't get drafted like Larry did, but he had bad people around him that told him he should leave early, and he had to live in Larry's boathouse for a couple of years. He didn't feel like, okay, what do I do next? Penny was able to get him back and talk to other athletes and say, there is another path. He could get his degree. You know, it's not just that thing they entice you with. This is pre-NIL, clearly, you know, for all you folks listening right now, but all y'all understand. So it gave him that repurpose. Like, it isn't just, you're not just your job. Rondale Moore got injured so many times. And as just a layperson, as just a coach at this point in my life, tearing my Achilles was probably one of the hardest things mentally I've ever had in my life because everything is by yourself. Like, as much as people want to help you, especially since it was my right Achilles, I can't drive anywhere, which means I got to depend on my wife. Do I really want to call her out of work because I need to go to the store and get something because I'm like really hungry because no one's been around? And like, no, I'm going to suck it up. And I would just let that stuff. Thankfully, I have a therapist and we work that stuff out. But not every person, the 25-year-old's not going to think like that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on your second, third ACL, second, third time a team's like, well, you know, you're going to need to kind of earn your way back on the roster.
And that's the thing I think people forget about the reality of sports is that when you are hurt, you're on the team, but you're not on the team, bro. Like you're not. Like you and guess what? It's the conversation you have isn't how's it going? It's when you come back.
Yep.
Oh man, you're working real hard. When you come back. And every conversation that's not about that feels like it is coded to be about that. It is. Injuries in a team sport environment are mentally taxing, particularly when in the cutthroat place of the NFL.
Yeah.
And so I hope, and I hoping against hope that people learn because people clearly don't learn. Is the thing I keep learning. I hope that we can remember that when we have these conversations about these human beings, that no matter what the technocrats say, still matter. And I know what you're thinking now. Dan, how is this guy going to pull this podcast out of this weird ditch? Here's how. Professional wrestling. Rich, tonight as we record, Monday Night Raw is occurring in my town. I'm not there. I'm talking to you. And I was just kind of on StubHub last night. I was like, I'm going to look at some tickets. And the obstructed view upper deck, guess the dollar amount.
$500.
You're such an asshole. $83.
Oh, I mean, no, I've seen them like that here in Pittsburgh, so that's why.
Upper deck obstructed, $83.
So you're for those that understand, for especially for pro wrestling, typically when they say upper deck obstructed, there's usually either a piece of the set or you're like basically next to a wall.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing half a Raw for $83. I can watch that for free in 4K at home. What are we doing?
So for Christmas this past year, I took two of my best friends to AEW. They were running Gateway, which is where the Dream play. It was a fantastic night. But each ticket cost about $40. We were 3 rows back. It was great. And I know this is a larger conversation about America in general, but watching as someone who watches this part of their living, has it been interesting or very telling or kind of indicative of what's next to watch TKO decide to go from the Vince McMahon, hey, we'll use house shows to create fans for life and be able to have so family can still go and enjoy their talent, to say, hey, fewer house shows, which is good for the talent, but it also means that we get to jack the prices because the only time you see them is on TV now. So these TVs now become more expensive. And obviously someone did that callous ass math before they decided to cut house shows. But Rich, man, like, this can't be sustainable. Like, it feels like AEW or even like pre-TKO, the spending philosophy was, hey, we want to be able to spend each time we come in town. And it feels like TKO is, what if we got every dollar from these people's wallets as quickly as possible?
Yeah. And that's what they did. And for those who wanted to see this, they did this with UFC. They priced the fans out and it became a pseudo celebrity and grifter and right wing haven. And they supplemented that by Disney paying a stupid amount of money for it to be on ESPN Plus, where you'd have your subscription and then pay for the pay-per-view, and they'd make that money hand over fist. So this is the script they follow. They don't care. And my issue is that also opens the door for, as you said, this is short-term, short-sighted, and you're going to kill the golden goose because you're not creating new fans. One of the best things that ever happened was, my son isn't a big wrestling fan, but I can point to Cody Rhodes. I got all these little action figures he keeps in here. Bobby Lashley, Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor, John Cena. Those were his guys. And when I went to, a friend of mine was kind enough to give us tickets to go see TNA here in Pittsburgh. He saw the Hardy Boys, and this dude had never seen a Hardy Boys match in his life, and he became a fan after one. I was like, that's why these guys are eternal.
There's nothing like live wrestling.
You lose those things.
Nothing like live wrestling.
It is, and that's the thing. You lose the ability to get that wow factor. Like, he had a young man with him, one of his best friends, and his friend, wrestling wasn't for him, but for that night, he was into it because he was so excited to see the people around him excited. When you go to these events and people are paying that much money, they're not going to be excited. They're going to be on their phones because they feel like this is a status symbol that they've earned. And if it's a pay-per-view, like right now in the background, I have on Raw, and I do not see, and it's in Atlanta, wonderful place. There are some folks excited, but there are more folks standing behind the commentators with their commemorative Atlanta Hawks belts than there are folks that are just like, hey, this is awesome. Like, this is cool. And so you open the door for an AEW to get a stronger foothold, because when you have cheaper prices, more action, at this point, more of an equally diverse roster because they started to push the black guys again in the WWE.
And also, they don't run the same, like, them running Vegas again and they complaining about ticket sales is obscene to me.
Especially when you snake New Orleans. You already had a plan to go to New Orleans.
The perfect Mania town. That was going to be my gift for myself. Was like, if it was in New Orleans this year, I was like, I'm going. Like, it's my favorite town. It's my favorite event. I've never done a destination Mania. I did Atlanta. I backed into Atlanta tickets, which reignited my fandom. But like, I haven't never done that, and I was excited because I was like, I can figure out how to meet it with Rich and Cam, and like, this is all very accessible and like doable. And now it's like, I'm not going to Vegas. I don't like Vegas. I don't like Vegas for things that aren't going to be that expensive. And so it's a real damn shame. I'm gonna let you get out of here. I do want to make a confession before we leave.
Okay.
I haven't told anyone this publicly yet, so I'm glad you're here. No one's listening. We're like an hour into the podcast. I finally started using AI
Oh my.
to book my universe mode for 2K26.
It is helpful for that.
I never thought it never crossed my mind. I was like, oh, wait a second. This is just because I'm doing the trackers and whatnot. I was like, this is so hard and cumbersome. What if this stupid bot just tracked it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. That's off my chest now. I feel better.
Yeah.
I did pre-order today because I am a weak man.
Which version? This is I'm very
I
interested
went
in.
with the whatever the third one, the Attitude Era one, because I figured
Okay.
I'll get the first 4 DLCs. I was going to get them anyway, and I don't necessarily want to pay the. I'm not going to say the number. I don't want to pay the most I could have. How about that?
I think the only time I ever did it, and again, if you had the bell, you could ring it. The only time I did it was when they did it for the NXT edition.
Oh my gosh, 2K17. Oh,
and it came with the Finn Balor. Yeah, it came with the Finn Balor statuette, which Trey, again, it's his. This is all his world. He's like, you're just borrowing my stuff right now, old man, and that's how that goes. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna get probably the review copy at some point in the next month, and then I'm gonna. What I do is I sit down with him, and I'm like, okay, who are we gonna give the title to? And and he's my co-booker, and we just go down the.
So in short, you're saying you're living the dream. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Rich, tell everyone where they can follow you, find you, and listen to everything that is Rich Fann.
Oh dear God. So I would say easiest way to do it. I'm on Blue Sky, rich.fan, FANN. If you want to listen to me, I do the PW Torch, so Pro Wrestling Torch. I do everything with Rich and Wade Tuesdays, typically there on the VIP side of things. I also occasionally do Wade guilts me into it, one of the post shows, but that's like 3 hours and I ain't got that in me anymore. I also am over at the Post Wrestling Cafe where I do with my fine Canadian friends. So I'm on both sides of the border, baby. I keep it breezy. I hop the Forbidden Friends. I go over there to Post Wrestling and I do MCU and DCU later, which are the Marvel and DC Cinematic Universe and television reviews with my buddy WH Park. We just finished up one of my favorite series Marvel's done with Wonder Man. It really took me back to loving comics with my dad and my uncle. And so the timing, especially with my uncle passing 2 weeks ago, was something that was like really perfect for me. And then up next, we got Daredevil and all that fun stuff. So if you want to go to forum.postwrestling.com or postwrestling.com, you can figure out how to do all the stuff there. Because they're Canadian, everything's done with like the Tim Hortons pricing style, like double espresso, or yeah, it's great. And instead of stars, my boss over there, John Pollock, gives coffee ratings for matches because he completely has his tongue in cheek, unlike some folks who take themselves way too seriously in this business.
We do not name names, Dave. I mean, whatever. Thank you very much for being on. Really love having you on. I'm going to have you on a bunch this offseason, I hope, and keep you out of any more walking boots. As always, brought to you by DanielPaulMortgages.com. If you can pay your rent, you can pay a mortgage. It's my job to help you qualify. Make sure you check out the rest of all the MTR Network's offerings. Insanity Check is back to help you through these trying times. Make sure you subscribe, share it. Tell the person in your life who loves sports but needs a smarter type of sports show to check us out. Make sure you follow us on YouTube at UDPod66. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on iTunes. Every podcast for free $99. We'll be back on Friday with Michael Felder. I'm just kidding. It's Felder Friday. We'll see you guys then. That is your show. There is no outro. See you guys on Friday.